Well, it's called A Passionate Woman. It's about a lady who's having a bit of a crisis, really. Her son's getting married, and she's not so happy about it. Her son is her life, really. So she's pretty upset. So she goes up into the loft and starts to reminisce.
It's my mum's story, largely. It's, mainly it's my mother's story. She told me something many moons ago, actually, when I was in my 30s. She told me she'd had an affair before I was born. She told me that he was the only man that she ever really loved. But she told me he'd been killed in a fairground brawl. And then 10 years later, my brother was getting married. And I suddenly linked that with this thing that Mum had told me. And so A Passionate Woman started to happen, really.
A certain smile.
Well, my character is Craze. He's a Polish man that Betty had an affair with many years ago, and he died. So I'm actually a ghost.
I mean, Mum loved him, absolutely. It was 30 years later to be absolutely devastated when she was telling me that he'd been killed. So he must have been quite special. I would imagine he would have been very romantic. Well, I think she's an amalgamation. It's got a large dollop of my mum in her. It's also got a bit of my Auntie Joan in there. And it's also got a bit of me in there as well. I mean, she's a fully rounded character. She's not just the ghost of my mum. She's not just my mum. Mum never did do the things that Betty does. But there's an essence of my mum in there. When my daughters came to see it, a rehearsal earlier on, they said, "Oh, it's extraordinary, Mum. You just become Nana," which is a strange thing. And then on the press night, people were asking me there I was on the stage. People were asking me where the story had come from and saying, to me, it seems like a really personal story. Questions kept coming at me, and I said, well, look, it is quite a personal story. It's not my story, but I'm not at liberty to tell you whose story it is. And from the auditorium, my mother goes, "It was me, it's my story." Donald, who is Betty's married to, he is that gruff Yorkshire man, but underneath he's got a heart, And he's not a bad man, Donald. He just can't quite express himself, really, and he's left it a bit late, to be honest with you. There's a little warning in this piece for all the men out there that are not romantic ever with their wives, partners, whatever. There's a little warning. And then, of course, Mark, bless him, lovely young man, trying to get married. It's his wedding day, and his mother's gone, walkabout.
Love a while, and when love goes.
First and foremost, they're going to get a big story. They're going to get humour. It's funny, and they're going to get pathos as well.
There'll be reminiscing. There'll be a lot of nudging. Oh, that's you, that is. There'll be a lot of that. The songs are beautiful. Johnny Mathis is a great song that I dance to. There's fun and excitement, and there's upset. There's tears, and there's real tender moments. And I think we've had so many different reactions. So I think everyone's going to absolutely love A Passionate Woman.